everybody. It's great to see everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Margaret Talev. I am Bloomberg's senior White House correspondent. I'm also president of the White House Correspondents Association, and I can tell you from that perch that there are increasingly more women in those seats in the briefing room in the 10 years that I've been covering the White House, which is great to see. As we all know, and today drove home further, 2018 is the year of the woman in American politics. And Bloomberg is committed to telling that story in a way that really no other news outlet can, with statistics and analysis, and of course, a lot of the human stories that bring politics to life. So on Monday, and I don't know if you've all had a chance to see it yet, Bloomberg launched this 2018 candidate tracker. It is our aim to make this really the definitive hub for everything that you are going to want to know about the phenomenon of female candidates sweeping the American political scene this year. It is a record number of women running for office. And on this hub, on this tracker, you'll be able to find information about each one of these women who's running for Congress and the historical trends and some sobering news as well, but we'll get to that. Bloomberg is, as you all know, at our heart, a data company. So we did turn to the data to help paint a picture of everything that's happening. Here we go. On this first slide, you can see here that in less than a couple of decades, starting it back in 2000, the number of women who are running for Congress has more than doubled. This year is at 527 women running. That's as at the end of last month. This is true in about 2/3 of the races. In 278 of the 435 House races this year, we see women candidates. And maybe I can show you that. Yeah, there we go. But take a look at this map, and you get a sense of this. There are the white areas that you see on the map show where there are no women on the congressional ballot from either party. So the gains that we're looking at in terms of female candidates really are uneven, and you can get a picture here of how that really plays out. It's also true that about 3/4 of all of the women running this year that we're looking at are Democrats. And you can take a guess why, and you'd be right to some extent. There is a Donald Trump factor here. That's the story for Mikey Sherrill, who's running not too far from where we are right here in suburban New Jersey. Navy helicopter pilot, federal prosecutor, and someone who was sure that the U.S. Was going to have its first female president in 2016. She told us the election was a real slap in the face to a lot of us, and it showed that progress wasn't inevitable. So that's one area of motivation for many of these candidates. But this is not just about Me Too, and it's not just about a Trump reaction. In many of these states, what we're looking at is the bench. Is what happens when there is a bench. There is a pipeline increasingly of female office holders who want to run for higher office. And in many of these cases, that's just what we're seeing play out. And that's a more consistent and steady trend to look for over time. It's also a more bipartisan trend to look for over time. Republican Carla Nelson, who's in the Minnesota state legislature, is also one of the candidates we've been following. Twice before, she was asked to run for Congress, and this year she said she decided to go for it because it's a mess out there. Women in general are problem solvers and multitaskers, and we get things done. So while the trend that we're looking at this year is a Democratic phenomenon, take a look here. Okay. Back in 2010, which you remember was another important midterm year, there was a huge jump in Republican women running. And that was really enough to help bring the parity to the parties. There were about 150 women each on those congressional ballots. And of course, that was the year that the Republicans took the House. This year, the Democrats are looking to do the same thing, to take the House back under their control in 2018. So I hinted earlier that there's a sobering part to the message of the research and what we're finding. And it's this, that many of these women, a majority in fact, are poised to lose their races, in part because there are almost 2,000 men running this year as well. It's not shaping up to be a great year for incumbents, and candidates from both genders are trying to take advantage of that. And if 2016 proved nothing else, it's that it's dangerous to try to predict election results. But here again, we do see a clue with the data and a direct correlation between how many women run and how many women win. All right. So if there are 23% of people running for the House who are women, you can estimate that that could transfer to about 17 additional women, on top of the 83 who are already serving there. But even so, even in that eventuality, that's still a long, long way from parity, of course, in Congress. So we did talk about a couple of the women that we're following, but here's a bigger, broader glance at the field. Some of the races to watch. Here's some of the races to watch. Democrat Chrissy Houlihan in suburban Philadelphia. Kathy McMorris Rogers, you know her name, of course. She is the highest-ranking woman in Congress. She's from Washington State, number 4 in the House leadership under Speaker Paul Ryan, and facing quite a tough race this year. Finally, you'll notice Barbara Comstock here in our photo montage. She is probably the single most endangered House Republican this year. She's running in the D.C. suburbs in Northern Virginia, and this is an area that Hillary Clinton had carried overwhelmingly. If Comstock wins, and watch this race, it probably means that that blue wave that Democrats are praying for may not carry itself out, and that Republicans may be poised to hold the House. So watch that Comstock race. Another race to watch is one where there's pretty much a lock on a woman replacing the man. You guys might know this race. That is Senator Jeff Flake's district, or it's not district, Senate seat in Arizona. That's because all the major contenders are women on all sides, on both sides. So the Martha McSally and Kelly Ward on the Republican side, and they are fighting to square off against the Democrat who is Kristen Sinema. So in basically any eventuality, we're looking at a woman to hold that seat. We've been talking a lot about Congress, but it's not just Congress where we're seeing this trend. In governor's races, 78 women running for governor in 36 states. The previous record's in 1994. This is more than double that record. And some analysts think that this could be the year when the U.S. breaks its prior record of women simultaneously serving as governor. That was 9, and that was, yeah, back in 2007, that was 9. So we could be looking at going past that number, exceeding that this year. So what happens to governors? As we all know, many governors, well, actually many mayors too, but many governors have their eyes on the presidency. So there are some women to look for on that front in the future too. Kristi Noem in South Dakota, Diane Black in Tennessee. These are 2 Republican congresswomen to watch who are running to lead in their states. So there you have it. If you haven't gotten a chance to take a look yet at the whole project which we unveiled yesterday, or if you have but you want to remember how to find it later so that you can save it on your phone. So when you're looking for it, you're like, I know there's that great Bloomberg graphic, where did it go? This is it. It's bloomberg.live/women-candidates. That's actually the simplified version. You should have seen the earlier link. Anyway, we're going to be building and updating this package throughout all of 2018. And we hope you'll check back regularly. We're going to have some really good stuff going forward as we all watch and wait to see how the Year of the Woman plays out in Washington and across the country. So thank you very much.